Hello and welcome to the Rain Hub YouTube channel. This is Ulan, your one and only girl, Ulan. Well, soon to be one and only girl. So as you know, the Rain Hub is an organization that strives and seeks to create a socially and politically aware Nigeria, a community of people who are aware of what's going on in our country, in our society, a community of people who are constantly talking about the hard-hitting topics, the things that really matter, and we're not easily, distracted by all the hula baloo of the entertainment industry or all the news or information that is not very important. Those of us who seek is a community of people who seek to better understand governance, better understand what is important, what is core to our nation state, to our nation building and all of that. So yes, brief about the Rain Hub. So again, welcome, and my name is Ulam. What are we talking about today? You guessed right, coronavirus. Everyone's talking about coronavirus. This COVID-19 has affected me, it's affecting you, it's affecting everyone. I mean, like, we can't even be outside with our friends, we can't hang out with family, we can't hang out with loved ones because everyone is scared to death about this coronavirus thing. Now, what we're talking about is not entirely the virus itself, but what that virus or what this pandemic has exposed about Nigeria, about the inadequacies in our healthcare system. So yes, Nigeria is lacking, or there is a shortage of ventilators in Nigeria. You might think that that's not a big deal, but I tell you that it actually is a very, very big deal. It's a big problem that we have a shortage of ventilators in this country. So a news outlet, All Africa, reported that we have 162 ventilators in 16 states. Mind you, Nigeria has 36 states. Let that sink in. Secondly, then we have our health minister who made a statement and said, Nigerians may not necessarily need that many ventilators. And yes, I can understand why he'd say that, but then again, it's no excuse. Now, one of the rights of every Nigerian is the right to health care. Not just Nigerian, everyone in the world. That's what your government, that's what our government, that's what my government, that's what our leaders are meant to make sure that we have a standard healthcare system, so that every time someone is sick, even if it's just a headache, they don't die from it. You understand what I mean? Yes, that the most basic thing, people are not dying from childbirth and all of those, so many frivolous things that kill Nigerians because of, again, our healthcare system that's very, very terrible. But I'm not going to go into that. For now, I'll try and focus and stay on the topic. So yes, ventilators. What is a ventilator and what does it do? That's probably something that everyone's hearing. Ventilator. What is a ventilator? What does it really do? How does it really affect me? So from my understanding, from little research that I've done, a ventilator is basically a hospital equipment, and it helps one's or an individual's respiratory system, and it takes on the job of your lungs. Please, doctors who are watching, or people, medical practitioners, if I'm wrong, please correct me down in the comments section. Thank you. So yes, because the lungs do the whole taking in of oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. So that whole process of the exchange, the ventilator is meant to do that on behalf of the lungs, especially when the lungs are maybe damaged or the person is really sick and the lungs are not performing the functions as well as it's meant to. Right, so then the ventilator does that so that your lungs can have more time to heal. So that's the purpose of a ventilator, and that's why it's very, very important. Now, with the coronavirus, for as many who know or who do not know, this virus actually affects your respiratory system and it actually affects your lungs. So that's why they tell you one of the symptoms is difficulty in breathing, because you're not able to, your system's not able to perform that function of taking in air, oxygen, taking out carbon dioxide. Like, the process is not as smooth and easy as it's meant to be. So yes, now that's why someone who is sick with the COVID-19, would, in some instances, depending on how critical or how weak the person's lungs or body system or immune system is in general, and would need the assistance of a ventilator to help them get better. Yeah, so that's just putting that in context for everyone. Now, back to the point that I said earlier, a news outlet reported that Nigeria has 162 ventilators in 16 states only, and mind you, there's 36. And this tells me, or this makes me wonder, what have they been doing with all the money? I mean, we knew that it was pretty bad, but this is actually really, really bad. And once again, if let's say everyone, in fact, not even everyone, let's just say a million people, because we have over 170 million Nigerians, right? If 1 million or even 100,000 people get very sick, and out of that 100,000, there is how many? Let's say even 500, like 500 Nigerians need a ventilator. What does that mean? Does that mean that only potentially 162 people would survive? That's if those ventilators are working well, and if there is enough, there's constant electricity for the ventilators to be used. Oh my God, don't even get me started on electricity. I'm not even going to go down that route because that's a topic for another day tomorrow, so please come back. Yes, so like I was saying, what does that mean? That means that if I were to be one of the unlucky 500, which nobody prays to be, it means that there's probably no hope for me. And the last report that we had about the number of ventilators in Abuja specifically is that there was 2 in the Wabolada hospital, and I mean, yeah, there was 2. Now Abuja has, I think, up to 18 cases. I might be wrong. Yeah, actually maybe 23, I think, last I checked, cases. And so now we're saying only 2 ventilators. So where are they being treated? How are they being treated? We don't even know how many of these 23 actually need ventilators because that information is not given to us. But when the health minister was questioned about there's a shortage of ventilators, how's the country going to cope, blah blah blah, all of that, and this person said, Nigerians may not necessarily need ventilators because it's not everyone, it's a, and let me just find out, only one patient so far, this is the reason, only one patient so far has required a ventilator, which is why they're saying, we might not necessarily need it. But the question is not whether we need it now or not. The question is, when we do need ventilators, or when a lot of Nigerians need ventilators, where is it? Where is the ventilator? Who is going to provide us with the ventilators? Because you never know. So I mean, the role or the duty of every government, of every leader, is to ensure that they are ready to tackle any challenge that comes. Every hospital, every clinic, any center that provides healthcare should be ready to deliver a lot of this care when someone comes and they're in need of it, or even when people are sick. I should go there and I know that I'll be cared for. I know that I will receive the care that I need. It's not like I'm begging for it, because Nigeria shouldn't have to beg for these things, because it is ours. It is our right. That is why we put our leaders in place. Now, one of the things, or another thing that made me really, really sad is that just shortly after that, we had, the case where the Nigerian government has tweeted at Elon Musk. I think that's the Tesla guy, and they're asking, Nigeria really needs about 100 to 500, donation of ventilators. And I'm wondering, how can you, a government, is it even legal to do that? Is it even legal to do that? Like, these things that some of us take a lot of things, for granted. But when a close one, or when your own person or your own close friend or acquaintance or family or someone dies in this country because there was no ventilator, of which the budget of our healthcare system should have on multiple occasions made provision for these things, then you'd understand how and why it is very painful, and why it is unfortunate that we are in the situation that we are. I mean, there's a lot of other things that we can branch out of this whole, or in fact, a lot of things that have been exposed about Nigeria by this virus. The healthcare system is not that much of a shocker to me anyway. But what shocks me is the fact that we actually do not have a very vital equipment, which is a ventilator. Like, it's just unheard of. And I just want to use this opportunity as well to give a shout out to the two individuals who took it upon themselves to fix the broken ones that were, I think, in Jude Hospital, a hospital in Jos. Kudos to you guys. You guys are doing very well, and we pray that more grace for you. And also, just for those who do not know, they are also agreeing or to create some of these ventilators for as many, I guess as many as they can, or as many as the government, I guess, can fund. So yes, please, yes, shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the healthcare practitioners that have been at the forefront of all of this. Thank you so much for your service. I guess the war is not always fought by soldiers and on the battle line or battlefront. It is also fought by our healthcare providers, our doctors, our nurses, our pharmacists. Thank you so much, and we do not take your service for granted. And I hope, and we can only pray as a nation that this pandemic would be over soon, so that everyone can get back to their loved ones, and so that everyone's life can move on. And we can only hope as well that this would be a lesson for Nigerians, so that we can start to demand more from our government, and we can only hope once again that Nigeria would become better, that Nigeria would use this to fix the healthcare system that is broken. So yes, follow us on our social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's come back and have more conversations about what this COVID-19 has exposed about our dearest Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day in quarantine, just as I am. Thanks. Bye.